Sorry for the poor video quality and the poor audio. I don't have a professional setup, but I felt like I needed to make this video because this is now the second time where I have heard on a podcast with seasoned card game and board game reviewers say that they have not played bridge, or they feel intimidated by bridge, or they played once but don't really remember the rules. That's all fine. I'm just surprised by the antipathy towards bridge in the modern card game community. I heard this on the Shut Up and Sit Down, Oops, All Card Games podcast, and I also heard this, surprisingly to me, on the Trick Talkers, episode number 7, Standard Deck Games, where all three hosts said that they were not too familiar with bridge. And that's not a bad thing. It's totally fine. But I think that if you enjoy Tichu, if you enjoy spades, if you enjoy euchre, if you enjoy yokai septet, you have the skills to enjoy bridge. I'm not saying that it will be your favorite game. I'm not saying it should be your favorite game, but I'm saying that you owe it to yourself to try to play bridge. And it can be fun. It is not a chore. There is not much to learn. I'm going to teach you in this video everything you need to know to enjoy bridge. And before I move on in the next section, I'm going to give you a quick argument for what I think is the key takeaway point to remember for the rest of this video. And that is that bridge is a gambling game. This is something that I think gets lost because there are bridge clubs dedicated to the professional playing of very high quality, play bridge as well as you can. And that is amazing. Those people are very smart. I think it's very cool. I watch videos sometimes of those people because I'm so impressed by their ability to play bridge. But what gets lost in that is that bridge is a gambling game. And so I think a lot of players, when they're introduced to bridge, they're introduced to club bridge. And in club bridge, they play duplicate hands. Why is that? Because bridge is so random that if you wanted to see the difference between top players, you would have to play 10s, 50s, hundreds of hands to eke out that difference between top players. And so to just even all that out, they play duplicate hands in club bridge. All right? But you don't have to do that. You should play rubber bridge, which is what I'm going to teach you in this video. And it is crazy bonkers. You can have insane bets and then lose all your points and then gain it all back just because you're lucky. You don't have to be good. That is what I'm going to tell you about in this video. Please stay with me. I know it's a bit long, but I hope you enjoy it. Okay, I gave you my 2-minute pitch. There are 3 sections. I'm going to teach you about how to understand the rules of bridge. And this is fast, and I'm sorry if it's not all in detail. I'll link you to better resources if I go too fast. But there are 3 steps. First, you have to understand card play. If you have played spades, hearts, yokai septet, whichever card tricking game, you can skip this section. It's the same. Then I'm going to teach you bidding, which is very similar to a lot of other games, but with a couple wrinkles. And then I'm going to teach you scoring, which is a bear. But the reason scoring is complicated is not because bridge is some high-fluting fancy game. It's because it's a gambling game. And like every gambling game, people back in the past were like, oh, this crazy, unlikely combination should get a special score. And so they made it. And then this crazy situation should get another score. And they made that too. It's like cribbage. It's like poker with all the poker hands, right? This is crazy nonsense. It's not deep, complicated strategy. It's crazy nonsense. And I want you to keep that in mind as I'm teaching it. So to start with, all the players are going to get dealt a hand of 13 cards. And then going around the table, Okay, so this is a bridge deal. There is a deck of 52 cards. All the cards from 1 to ace, no jokers. And you're going to deal 13 cards to each player. One player is going to be the dealer. After all the bidding is done, some player is going to win the bid, and they're going to be the first to lead. They can lead whatever card they want. And then if we look at this player's hand, if they have a card of the same suit, in this case diamonds, they have to play a card of diamonds. They can play higher or lower. Doesn't matter. In this case, they can only play higher, so they play this card. This player as well, do they have any diamonds? Yes, they do. They might decide to go lower. This player, they have diamonds. They also decide to go lower. So here, the king of diamonds is high, so the king of diamonds wins. All right? And then, whoever wins a trick leads the next trick. So in this case, this player could lead any card in their hand. Let's say they lead this 6 of spades. And then this player, let's say they didn't have that jack of spades. All right, so they're out of spades. They can play whatever card they want, so they can play a diamond. And then over here, this player, they do have a spade. They're going to play this king of spades. And then over here, this player, they have spades. They're going to play this 10 of spades. All right, the highest card of the led suit wins. So this 3 of diamonds counts for nothing. Even if this was the ace of diamonds, because aces are high in bridge, doesn't matter. This king of spades would win the trick. Finally, there is trump. Most of the time in bridge, there is a trump. Let's say in this case, trump was hearts. So if this player led diamonds, it goes around, they play a diamond, they play a diamond. Let's say this player was out of diamonds for some reason, but they still had hearts. all right? They still have this heart. They could put the heart in, and because hearts is trump, the highest trump in a suit wins, all right? So they win this trick. But remember, you can only play a trump if you're out of the lead suit, right? Because it's a must-follow game. And that's it. You keep going until everybody is out of cards, and then you are done. There's one more wrinkle, which is that one of the players is actually not playing. Their hand is going to be placed face up on the board. So all the other players, they have their hands, secret as regular hands. But one player, which is the opposite from the player, remember this player won the bid, so they led the first trick. Their partner becomes the dummy. They put their hand face up on the board, typically better organized than this. And then their partner plays for them. All right, I'll go into that more when I get to bidding. Okay, the bidding. There are always 13 tricks in a hand because each player is going to be dealt 13 cards. They play one card in every trick. There's always going to be 13 tricks. To win the bid, you must say that between you and your partner, you're going to win at least the majority of the tricks. If you're not going to win the majority, why are you even bidding? And so for that reason, the minimum bid is 7 tricks. But because it sounds nicer, we like to call this a one bid. So we call the first 6 tricks are referred to as book. And then after that, you're actually bidding tricks. So the smallest bid you can make is a bid of 1. But remember, a bid of 1 actually means 7 tricks. And then a bid of 2 is 8 tricks, all the way up. The maximum bid is a bid of 7, and that means that you're going to get 13 tricks. So starting with the dealer, you're going to look at your hand, and you're going to bid a number of tricks that you think between you and your partner you're going to make. Starting, the minimum bid is 1, and you can pass. So the dealer, you look at your hand, you don't like it, you can pass. The next player, they don't like their hand, they can pass all the way around. If everyone passes, you just throw the hand in because it's boring. We're not going to play boring hands in bridge. It's an exciting game. How is trump determined? Trump is determined by the players who win the bid. When they make a bid, they also say what kind of trump they want. So if I say I want to bid 1, I also have to announce a kind of trump. Either clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades, or no trump. And these are listed in order of rank. So if I start the bidding, I say 1 clubs, meaning I'm saying that between me and my partner, we're going to make 7 tricks, and the trump is going to be clubs. If a later player wants to bid 1, they have to bid a higher suit, and no trump is the top. So they could bid 1 spade, or they could bid 1 trump, or they could go to the next higher number. So for example, if I bid 1 diamond, and they wanted to bid clubs, they cannot bid 1 clubs, because clubs is lower than diamonds, but they could bid 2 clubs. And it's very simple. So then it just goes around the circle. I say, 1 diamond. My opponent to my left says 2 clubs. Everyone else passes. Then they have won the bid. They are now the declarer, and they will play the hand. There are 2 more wrinkles to bidding, which is doubling and redoubling, which I will get to in the scoring section because you're not going to understand unless you understand scoring. Okay, so scoring. First of all, if you win the bid, the first 6 tricks are worthless. Remember, you need to be winning a majority of the tricks in order to score anything at all. Otherwise, the other players should have been bidding, right? So the first 6 tricks are nothing. After that, you get 20 points per club, 20 points for diamonds. These are both minor tricks, so they're worth 20 points apiece. The major tricks, which are hearts and spades, are worth 30 points apiece. No trump is a bit weird. The first trick of no trump is 40 points. After that, it's 30 points. 2 things. First of all, why are the minor tricks worth less? Because it's a gambling game. This is not some, mathematically perfect game. This is a crazy gambling game. And that's why the major suits are worth more. Why is no trump weird? That one actually does have an explanation. If you do the math, the minor suits, 100 divided by 20, you need to get 5 above 6, right? So 5 plus 6 is 11. So you have to win 11 tricks in order to get to game in a single hand with a minor suit, right? That's 100 points in one hand, in one deal. For the major tricks, if you do that same calculation, it's 120 points if you get 4, right? So you need to get 4 plus 6 is 10 total tricks in a single hand to win game in one hand with a major suit. And then why is the first trick 40 for no trump? Because that means that it's now 3, right? If you win 3 no trump, that's game. And so a lot of times when you are bidding, most of the time, you are trying to figure out, can we get to game in this one hand? And about 50% of the time you can. So this is similar to if you're learning Teachu and someone tells you should always be calling Teachu. In bridge, the top thing in your mind, what you should always be thinking is, can we get to game? All right, now we're going to talk about bridge scoring and rubbers. And I'm sorry, this is where the lines come out. There's a lot of tradition about this. I don't care, right? This is going to be team A and team B. If you bid a certain number of tricks and you make it, you get that calculation there. So like if we bid 4 clubs and we make it, that's 4 times 20 is 80 points. And we put that below the line. All right. If you make any extra tricks, those are called over tricks, they don't go below the line. That means that they do not count towards that 100 points you need to a game, those 2 games you need for rubber. They don't help you there. They're just getting you points, in the end, but it's minor points. If you fail to get those points going towards a game, that hurts because you need those 500 points from the rubber, right? So anyway, let's say we bid 4 clubs, we made 5 clubs. Ouch, we could have been in game. We only get 80 points and we have 20 points above. Oh, that really hurts if that happens. What happens if you go under? Let's say we go again, we bid 4 hearts, but we only get 3 hearts. Our opponent gets 50 points per trick we miss. Oh my God, they get way more than whatever we lost, all right? This is why I said this is a gambling game. Every time you bid and you're pushing up the bid, you are offering your opponent a lot of points if you fail. So if you like to push your luck, bridge is the game for you. Okay, so now let's say it's into the 3rd hand. We missed one. We almost got to game in the first one. Our opponent bids 3 no trump. They get 100 points in one hand. They won this game. Our 80 points, we still keep them, but they might as well have been above the line because they are not counting towards the game anymore. Our opponents got the game. All right, this is yet again, it is a race to win each game. And now we're on to the next round. Let's say our opponent bids 4 hearts. They get 120 points. They won a second game. They have won this rubber. They get another 500 points. Oh my God. So this is why I'm saying, you like playing Teach you like getting those big calls. This can happen in bridge. This is totally happens all the time in bridge where you are trying and you get, you have one decent call that you underbid a little bit. You have one thing that you bid over and you lose some points, and then your opponent gets 2 games in a row and they have 500 points from winning the rubber and you are way behind now. But now I want to introduce 2 catch-up mechanics in bridge that are very fun to play with. One is vulnerability. All right. If you have won one game, then after you won a game and you are losing tricks, you lose twice as many points. So remember, if you overbid and you lose tricks, you lose 50 points per trick if you overbid. If you are vulnerable, meaning you've won one game in the rubber, but you haven't won your second to win the whole rubber, now you're vulnerable, you lose 100 points per trick. All right. So that second time when they were bidding 4 hearts and they made it, that was nerve-wracking for them because if they had got even 1 trick under, we would have gotten 100 points above the line, and now they're losing a ton of points. Then there's another concept, which is called doubling. All right. If your opponent bids something and you don't think they're going to make it, you can double. That just doubles all the points above and below the line. So let's say that we are at 3 clubs. All right. That's not game, right? That's only 60 points. But our opponents don't think we're going to make it. They double, right? Because now if they set us, meaning they put us down a trick, they would get 100 points per trick we're down. If we're vulnerable, they would get 200 points per trick we're down. But if we make that, now we're getting 120 points below the line. We weren't at game, but they doubled, so now we are at game. We got game in one hand, right? You can double, and if your opponents double, you can redouble, all right? My partner says, no, we definitely can make this 3 clubs. You can redouble. And now this is bonkers. If we get set 1 trick, and we're not even vulnerable, right? We get set 1 trick, instead of losing 50 points, if we redoubled, now we're losing 200 points. If we were vulnerable, we would be losing 400 points per trick we were down if we redoubled. Remember, 500 points in a rubber, that's like winning the whole game kind of points. And now we're saying we're losing 400 points per trick we miss if we lose, right? That's why I'm saying this is a gambling game. This game is bonkers. There's 2 more scoring bonuses that you need to know about, and these are big ones because these can make or break a game if you can make it happen, all right? These are the small slam and the grand slam. If you bid 6, right, which is because you have to make 6 plus whatever you bid. So that's 12 tricks total, which is all but 1, right? You're making a lot of tricks. If you manage to bid it and make it, you get 500 points. If you do it while you're vulnerable, meaning that you've won 1 game in this rubber, and the rubber's not finished, but then you bid and make a small slam, you get 750 points. And then if it's doubled, all those scores get doubled, right? So you could be getting 1,000 or 1,500 points. And remember, winning the rubber is already 500 points. So this is like winning another rubber, winning a bonus rubber, right? A grand slam is if you bid to score every trick. You bid 7, that means I'm going to win every single trick. I'm not going to miss a single trick. Then you get 1,000 points. If you bid and do it while you're vulnerable, you get 1,500 points. If that's doubled, all those scores get doubled. So you could be getting 3,000 points. If it's redoubled, you could be getting 6,000 points. And remember, typically you only play like 2, maybe 3 rubbers. So 6,000 points, that is more than you would play ever, right? That is an insane number of points. It's just bonkers, right? But one other point I want to point out is that the small slam, like it sounds like a lot, it is a lot. Only maybe 1 in 10 hands even has a chance of a small slam. But 1 in 10 hands is not nothing. And keep in mind, it's only one more. If you want to go to game in a minor suit, right, clubs or diamonds, that's already 5 tricks. Small slam is just one more trick, all right? And then grand slam is one more trick after that. So it's rare, but it doesn't happen never. It happens sometimes. And so just like getting a grand teacher and teacher, you want to be thinking about, can we get to game? If we can get to game, can we get to small slam? If we can get to small slam, can we get to grand slam? That is bonkers. But then if you're coming in from the other side, if you go to grand slam, you cannot lose a single trick. And you have all of the control. This is why I love bridge, right? Other card games, people talk about shooting the moon. And if you want to shoot the moon in hearts, you have to win all the tricks. But you can kind of secretly slide your way in there. So the first couple tricks, you don't have to win them if there's no dirt in it, right? Or if you want to do in like Nukosu dice or something, or spades, you want to bid 0, you can bid 0, but then you have no agency, right? You're just dodging, right? You're like Neo in the Matrix, dodging all the bullets. But if you want to get grand slam in bridge, you have to be John Wick, all right? You aren't Neo, you're John Wick. You're the guy coming in with the guns, and you see a guy, take him down. You see another guy, you take him down. You have to be on top of all the tricks, and you cannot lose one. And you think about, you look at a hand of like winner, 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 you're going to win all the tricks. But then you almost always, if you're only bidding grand slam when every single card's a winner, you're not bidding enough, right? You need to be bidding grand slam when you have 1 or 2 losers in the hand. And that raises the excitement level so high because you're coming into grand slam and you've got like 2 losers and you need to think about, where is the cards that could beat my 2 losers? Is it on my left or is it on my right? And if you're on the defense and someone bids a small slam or a grand slam, you already know, I mean, we're not going to get that many tricks. We're only get 2 or 3 tricks, right? But if you could get 3 tricks, then you've set them a lot. You've put their points down. And so when you're playing on defense, you're throwing cards away, but you have to be thinking about the whole time, which card do I keep? And you have very little information, right? Because you only know your hand. You don't know your partner's hand. You don't know the declarer's hand. You only know what the dummy has on the table. All you know is that they have most of the tricks. And so you have to think, you know, I could have a king of spades, you know, maybe they bid hearts, and so they're pulling a lot of hearts trumps, and I've got like this king of spades, and I've got this 10 of diamonds, and sometimes you're like, well, the king is higher, so I'll throw away my diamond, but it turns out that the declarer's only loser was a 9 of diamonds, and so you needed to hold on to the 10, and that's the real excitement. Okay, so now you know all the basic rules of bridge, all right? I've taught you how to play tricks, I've taught you very quickly how to bid, and I've taught you very quickly how the scoring works. Now I'm going to teach you about how to bid well, and I'm not going to teach you any contracts because contracts are how to play the game well. And when you sat down to play chess for the first time, did you learn opening theory? When you sat down to play poker the first time, did you learn hand probabilities? That's what learning contracts is. Learning contracts is all about taking all the probabilities of bridge and doing a bunch of math to tell people mathematically this is the best bid you could make. And it's how to play the game well. But we're not here to play the game well, we're here to have fun. And remember, bridge is a betting game. You can play badly and win, all right? Just like in other card games, you can, spades, in Tichu, you don't have to be the best to win. It's a card game, all right? So I'm gonna teach you how to bid good enough. No contracts, just gut feelings, all right? So, all right, I know I promised you no math, but I'm gonna do a little math just so you can have some things to think about in your head. First of all, in every suit, there's 13 of each suit, there's 4 players, so you divide that through, each player is gonna have about 3 in each suit. If you are long in a suit, that brings down the total number, other players might only have 2, all right? Why is this important? Because I'm gonna start talking about trump in a minute. Similarly, in each suit, each player's gonna have about 3 cards. That means that if you play through until everyone's out of a suit, they're gonna play on average 3 cards out of their hand. So the cards that matter the most are the ace, the king, and the queen maybe, and maybe the jack if you're lucky, right? So this is getting back to when you look at your hand, you want to be asking yourself, how many tricks can I win? And this is the same in games like Tichu or Yokai Septet or any other games. You want to look at your hand and think about how many of my cards are winners. All right, one more just quick math thing, 13 tricks divided by 4 players. That means that you could probably bet on your partner, ideally for 3 tricks, but if you have a good hand, your partner, just because of statistics, probably has a worse than average hand, just like everyone else does at the table. So I would recommend you rely on your partner for 1 to 2 tricks when you're bidding. Okay, I'm showing you a hand here so I can explain how my thought process is in calculating whether a hand is good. And I just want you to remember, in contracts, I didn't learn how to bid in games this way, bridge this way. I learned the contract method. But after reading a bunch of contracts, this is the logic that the contracts are using. They just have more math to make sure that you bid accurately and consistently. But I'm teaching you the gut feeling method, which a lot of contracts, this is what they're trying to do, but they're coming at it from a mathy direction. I'm teaching it from the gut feeling direction. So here we look at this hand, all right? You're going to bid a trump suit, all right? Obviously spades, we have 5 of them, that's the most. We want a lot of trump. And we have the ace of spades, even better, right? Remember, our opponents, we have a lot of trump. On average, they'd have 3 cards. We have a lot of trump, so hopefully they only have 2 cards. So we can count 3 of these as winners, plus we have the ace of spades, that's another winner. So we have 4 winners in our trump suit over here. And this king over here, remember I said, the ace is a winner, king is a winner, sometimes queen and jack. So we definitely have at least one more winner here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can count on our partner for maybe 1 or 2 tricks. So this is 6 or 7. This is okay. You could bid 1 and hope your partner has a good hand. But this is not the best hand. We're going to come over here to a better opening hand, all right? Right away, we have an ace, right? That's a winner. We have another ace. That's 2 winners. All right, we're up to 2. And now look at these diamonds. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 diamonds, all right? Subtract 2 because they're definitely short-suited in diamonds unless you're really unlucky. You've got 5 tricks in these diamonds. So 5, 6, 7. I have 7 tricks myself, all right? So I'm definitely opening 1 diamond just to see what my partner says, all right? My partner hopefully has at least 1 or 2 tricks, but they're going to come back and tell me if my hopes are exceeded or not. Okay, so here I've laid out my partner's hand. And actually, let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll tell you the truth. If you wanted to actually win a lot of points, your partner should probably be thinking about trying to get you to switch to hearts because hearts are worth more. But we're going to keep going with diamonds for a moment just to talk out the example and not get too detailed into the scoring nitty-gritty, all right? They look at this, their diamonds suck ass, right? You want to pull trump twice because you got to pull out all the diamonds your opponents have. And your partner's going to be out of trump by the time that happens. So they can't contribute anything in diamonds. This king may be a winner. So they got 1, right? So if I bid 1 diamond over here, and I come to my partner, I know they're probably relying on me for at least 1 trick, and I only have 1 trick to give them. So I would just pass, right? And that would be the bidding. Now you've learned the bidding. All right, I just moved some cards around to give you an example of what if my partner had a great hand, all right? Let's look at this. Now we have 4 diamonds, right? Remember, 4 minus 2, that's 2 tricks right there. And one of them is the ace. That's another trick. We have 3 tricks. They're probably only relying on us for 1, maybe 2. This is 3, and then we have the king from before. That's 4 tricks. So we definitely have at least 2 more tricks than they were expecting. So we should be bidding at least 3 diamonds, maybe 4 diamonds. It comes back over here. If they jump us to, let's say, 3 diamonds, I know that they have at least 2 more tricks than I was expecting. And they probably have at least decent diamonds, right? Because they didn't reject my trump suit. And so I have a lot of diamonds. If they have at least decent diamonds probably means like 3. Then I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we have 7, 10 out of the 12, 13 diamonds between the 2 of us. I might only need to pull diamonds once and get all the diamonds out, which in this case is actually true, right? How many diamonds does this player have? This player has 1 diamond, right? We actually have 11 out of the 13 diamonds. I pull diamonds once, they're out of diamonds. I have 6 more tricks of diamonds. So 6 plus maybe another 2 for my partner, plus this is another, 1, 2, that we're up to 10 tricks right there, right? So we should be bidding at least 4, maybe 5, right? Especially if you want to go to game, you want to risk it a little bit, just go to 5, right? It's a betting game, just go for it. All right, that's the end of my video on bridge. Hopefully it was somewhat clear. Sorry if I went too fast. That's why I think bridge is a fun game to play, even if you are terrible at the game, because it's crazy. A lot of exciting things can happen. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be detailed. You don't have to learn math. You don't have to learn contracts. You only have to learn math and contracts if you want to be good at duplicate bridge. And the whole point of duplicate bridge is to remove the variance from bridge, right? But bridge is a gambling game, right? That's removing the variance from craps, right? Which is dice rolling. If you want to have fun, just play rubber bridge. Rubber bridge is crazy. Rubber bridge is exciting. Just have fun with the contracts. Even if you're bad at bidding, you can luck into a win.